We have a couple of grandstands, but I think even the grandstand. Look, the alternative is a 68. They got me feeling like I'm academics. Today is the second week, the first day of the second week. This is day 6 of the Diddy trial. Okay, week 2 is beginning with the judge ruling on the scope of Dawn Richard. Everybody got a little special name. It's not Dawn Richard, it's Dawn Richard testimony. And apparently Kerry Morgan is going to testify after. So Kerry Morgan, if you don't know, is the best friend or former best friend of Cassie. She claimed Diddy threw a wooden hanger, fucked up her face, but she was Cassie's closest friend while she was getting cool with Diddy.
Hit in the head.
At a point, she even testified, or not testified, according to Cassie. Cassie was
a wooden hanger.
Hitting up Diddy like, wait, do you want my friend over me? Because she felt that Diddy was expressing interest in both of them. Her testimony is going to be important to what she's seen. Clearly, she's a government witness, so she's not going to be like, oh, no, Diddy ain't do nothing wrong. Cassie was a whore. So she's going to be probably trying to say, yeah, Diddy was always forceful. He was always intimidating. He did hit me, blah, blah. So that's going to come. But Dawn Richard Dawn Richard is one of the first witnesses that has been a former artist for Diddy. And her day 2 of testimony, she only did like half the day before.
This is day 5 recap. Oh, day 5? No, day 6. I'm sorry, day 6.
Welcome, recap. People. Welcome. Welcome. I see everybody on the King Academics channel, everybody on the Academy channel. Everybody, real quick, if you don't know, you've never been to one of the live streams, you're not a chat nigga yet. You could be, or a chat queen. Just check in. We want to know where you're from, where you're repping.
We're gonna be here for
give me an idea of maybe your perspective is based out of. Okay,
we'll check that one out too. Let me get my other lights.
Just check in real quick.
Let me see how this other light. I'm gonna turn this other light on.
Okay, we're gonna roll into this pretty slowly. So it started 32 minutes ago. It says all rise. The judge, Submarinian, says on the defense application with regards to Dawn Richard, Mrs. Garagos, which is Tenny Garagos, her opening statement opened the door to this testimony, okay? As to Mr. James, the testimony would be admissible absent more. So, don't know exactly what the application is. I could probably pull it up because it was probably filed on Friday or probably filed this morning or over the weekend, but, argue this morning. It appears that the defense wants to carve out certain parts of, sorry, it's coffee. Yeah, I just gulped the whole coffee thing now because I got to be good. So the defense carved out certain parts of Dawn Richard's testimony. Now, here's the thing about Dawn Richard, right? And this is going to be a main thing about a Dawn Richard or a Kerry Morgan testimony. It's one thing when Cassie takes that stand, and Cassie is a first-person witness, which means Diddy was punching dick in her stomach. She was getting peed on. She was swallowing all different flavors of the rainbow of semen. It's one thing if someone's giving a first-hand recounting or testimony. It's another thing if, you were there, but none of that happened to you. So you're just saying what you've seen. Here's the problem with that. Even if Cassie had an incentive of money, which, come on, there's a lot of money that people could have gained. She gained supposedly 30, 20 from Diddy, 10 from Intercontinental. She was a victim.
Ain't 30 mil.
Let's talk about the people who ain't victims. Diddy ain't punched no dick in your stomach. You wasn't in no free calls, but you were here to testify. That person could be then deemed and seen as, well, and we're going to talk about Aubrey O'Day. Please remind me. Your gripe might stem from the fact that your career didn't go nowhere. Mm-hmm. Your gripe might stem from the fact that Diddy didn't believe in you musically. Your gripe could stem from whatever wrong you thought he did to you, non-sexually, that you now feel is in your best interest or your get back to testify against him.
Don't say that.
about what you claim you saw. Keep in mind, none of it you saw at the time. Did you ever blow the whistle then?
Right.
What's your excuse? I was an artist. I didn't want to kill my career. Now your career is dead. Now you're down to talk. So that's the thing where the defense is starting to, hold on. We can't let everybody just get up in here claim they seen some shit.
Of course they see
Okay?
something. Of course
That's
it's
the thing.
Diddy.
So
It's Diddy, big
the
dog.
AUSA says, as I argued in my letter, the judge then ruled orally on letters that are not in the docket. Okay, cool. Let's see if we can see this real quick. Okay, all right, never mind. This is inner city press stuff. Okay, cool. All right. So the judge says the same brand of testimony that was objected to on Friday, does the government expect Rashad to say what she heard and saw? Remember, chat, the very basis of even some of the things, like, again, it's one thing, it's like, this is what I've been through. It's another thing, it's like, this is what I heard and saw other people do. It's the definition of a hearsay, right? So the AUSA, which is the prosecutor, says, yes, we expect her to kind of give the same testimony about what she heard and saw. The judge says that would be permissible, just like the testimony in the recording studio, okay? So the judge is kind of choosing the AUSA side on this matter. They're saying two things. The reason why we're going to allow Dawn Rashad, because here's the thing. Diddy's team is coming in at halftime, so to speak, because they didn't say anything Friday. She started testifying on Friday. She said things on Friday. Monday, you know, they've been working, and we've seen Diddy's team has admitted they stayed up till 3 a.m. to get their shit right. Cross their T's, dot their I's. Now, they spent the weekend. They're like, whoa, we could probably get the judge to carve out A, B, and C. The judge is now just saying, here's the problem. I already allowed it on Friday, and you didn't say nothing on Friday. So if they started on Friday saying that, why would I now rule it out? They already started.
Right.
Number 2, in your opening statement, you guys mentioned some of these other people, including Dawn Rashad, who you knew was going to be a witness for the government. And you basically brought up things to nullify what she was going to say. Because you did that, it actually gives her permission to say what she's going to say. That's kind of where we're at with it. Okay, cool. The judge said it would be permissible. Another AUSA, or maybe it's the same one, Slavic, says, the personal assistants were with Combs 20 hours a day. Their testimony is admissible. So now they're moving beyond Dawn Rashad, because what's going to happen, Kerry Morgan is Cassie's best friend. Remember, she's seen and heard.
Seen and heard it.
Then there's going to be Mia. Mia was Diddy's former assistant. Diddy didn't fuck her, I think. Diddy didn't put her in freak-offs, I think. But she's seen and heard. An assistant and a driver, a security, all of them seen and heard. So the AUSA is now putting it out there, we don't want them to, since Dawn Rashad, they can't do nothing about because she already started. We don't want them to bring up the same issue about these other people. And here's the thing. And this is why I said Cassie's the main witness, right? She's the main witness. She's been through it. There's Jane Doe. She's been through it. We don't know anybody else who is a witness/victim who've been through it. The rest are people who've been around it, giving a testimony, just saying, oh, I seen this. Oh, I was there. I was the person who helped her go to the hospital after she got a bloody, whatever the case is. Okay. So Slavic is saying personal assistants were with him 20 hours a day. Their testimony is admissible. The judge says, my concern is that there's other way to get evidence in. What Mr. James would add is just a postscript. So basically they're saying, unless these people are direct witnesses, like for example, I seen her punch her in the mouth. You're a direct witness, right? Now you have levels to this. The victim is the best. He punched me in my mouth. I'm telling you, it happened to me. Look at my bloody mouth. He punched me. Good. That's the highest. Then we're going to get, I seen him punch him in the mouth. I was in the room. I seen it with my 2 eyes. Cool. Then you get even a lesser witness, which is like, I heard a loud noise that sounded like a punch, and then I seen her walk outside and her mouth was bleeding. So I came to the conclusion he punched her in the mouth, or she told me he punched her in the mouth. See, there's levels to it. So again, the thing with the Diddy case, and this is why
I saw
Diddy's
you.
secrets went, protected for all these years. He wasn't
I
doing
saw
everything in
you in
front of
the
everybody.
comments. Girl with the ass.
So the freak off only Cassie and a few other people could talk about. There was security and other people around there, but they weren't in the room. So all they're doing now is
Hey, I think it's hilarious. His chat, like right here, they funny. They funny. They be saying the wildest things.
kind of like describing the atmosphere around the room, what they would see. Oh, she walked out crying. I seen this. But Diddy's defense is like, yo, all that shit is bullshit. Y'all never seen nothing.
You see
And also,
nothing.
y'all all have some type of gripe against Diddy now. Your career didn't go nowhere, Don
Where's my
Rashad.
speaker at? Let me get some sound effects.
You're on food stamps. Of course. Diddy's flying private jets. He got astroglide baby oil and motherfucking, like he got that pink cocaine in his spot right now. Like, of course you still mad. You're irrelevant. So you're going to say a story that goes along with anything that's against him. That's what his defense team is trying to say, okay? And the judges kind of say his concern is that if Mr. James, who was an assistant just like Mia, if he don't see it, and even if he's called in to clean up some shit, isn't there other ways to bring in this evidence? Because at this point, it's a lot of assumptions and hearsay, right? And by the way, this is very important, Chad. And I know I'm doing some yapidemics. If this case turns into a lot of hearsay and assumptions instead of this happened to me,
Right.
I was a victim in this way,
Right.
this might not be as strong as you think. Okay, so Agnifilio, which is Diddy's lawyer, says, on the David James issue as a former personal assistant of Diddy, this defeats the whole purpose of this hearsay objection. As I said, hearsay. The government is arguing that it's all admissible because the job descriptions are so vague. We contend it's personal matters. So what they're saying, what Diddy's lawyers is saying is that, yo, that's like you know a girl who gets her ass beat allegedly by her boyfriend.
Right.
You've never seen him beat her ass. But every time she comes to you, she might have a bruise, and she says, yo, he beat my ass. Now you're the witness that he beat her ass. How the fuck do you know he beat her ass? You've never seen him beat her ass. You're listening to her, and we already got her testimony. So remember, they already got Cassie's testimony. They got Cassie's testimony. Why we need to hear what Cassie told other people or other people who were helping Cassie after the matter, right? Anyway, the judge says, let me focus you on the assault of the chef. Mr. James learns from a member of the security detail that Combs assaulted the chef. Chat, remember, this is going to be very important, right? Chef Diddy. So remember, there was a former personal chef of Diddy who basically she's claimed that she was assaulted. I think this should be the same one because this one filed a lawsuit and this was in 2017. They claim that, and by the way, start getting into some sexual shit because they claim that, we didn't know it was freak offs at the time, but they said after sexual encounters, Diddy would order the chef to bring food in the room and Diddy's cock was just lying on the side. Like he just laid out all type of shit. You know what I mean? Nigga still stroking while she bringing in the fucking, bacon, egg, and cheese. You get what I'm saying? So they basically were just like, what the fuck is going on? They sued, and before we could really think Diddy was some really creep deviant, they paid out. So Diddy settled it. And it went away, and that was 2017. Nothing really popped up till 2023, which was 6 years later. So that was a good settlement for Diddy, even though he probably should have settled this before he even went to the press. Whatever. I think that's a chef. Maybe there's been another chef, but that's the only chef we knew of so far. Let's keep reading.
I didn't know about
Let
that.
me focus you on the assault of the chef. Mr. James learned from a member of security.
Did y'all know about that? The chef? I didn't know about that. Didn't know about that. But it's a lot we don't know. We're learning.
That Combs assaulted the chef. Wouldn't that be in the scope of their employment? So the judge is basically asking Diddy's lawyer, listen, Yeah, I don't want to bring in a bunch of hearsay here and allow these people to testify to bullshit or what they heard, blah, blah, blah. But if they do, even if they didn't witness it, and people complained in the moment of some violence, and they could be partied or privied, or they could be vouching for how this violence or whatever was reported. Maybe it
I'm
doesn't mean it
looking at. I
happened,
got
but
this
they know it
monitor
was
over here,
reported. They should be
but
able
I
to
got a
talk about
monitor
that,
over
right?
there, so I'm gonna try to look at this one
And
more.
Agnifilio says,
I
I don't
got the
know
camera in the
what
middle.
this has relevance to
I might need to
racketeering.
put it to the side.
Okay? The reason why he says that, remember, in a racket, these
Close
people are
up.
complicit. The judge is saying, well, if the security heard that a girl got knocked upside her head and he could testify to that, that's relevant. Even if he didn't see her get knocked upside the head. What Diddy's lawyer is saying, okay, cool, we'll concede that point, but he's charged with racketeering. In racketeering and in a racket, people are colluding. So if the scope of their employment was not to collude with Diddy in this quote unquote sex trafficking ring, and they were just doing their job, why is their testimony relevant if you're gonna say it's not in collusion with Diddy? Who gives a fuck what they say? If they're not working with Diddy to cover shit up or whatever, and then let's keep going. So this has become sort of a bad act free for all. Assault is not one of the racketeering acts. Okay? So essentially what they're saying is like, yo, bro, like, y'all go on some other shit. Slavic, which is AUSA, says, this is relevant to the means and methods of the enterprise. The chef is identified as a victim of forced labor. Ooh. Okay. Agnifilio says, I'm going to defer to Miss Westmoreland on the other witness. Now, this is the first time we've heard Miss Westmoreland. So again, remember, I keep telling you, Diddy's team is really structured. Everybody has an expertise. Let's look. Westmoreland Diddy, that's a lawyer. That's a black woman he added earlier this month who supposedly survived sexual assault. Okay. She was going to play a role and looked like her role was maybe to deal with some of the chef stuff. She runs Nicole Westmoreland, she runs her own firm. She joined the defense team with a notice of attorney appearance, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. She joined after the jury was being picked. Interesting. Okay, cool. So Westmoreland stands up and says, Miss Richard claims that Mr. Combs assaulted Ventura right in front of her. The other alleged threats are nowhere in close proximity to an alleged assault. We have to distinguish between Danity Kane and the Diddy Dirty Money eras. And Mr. Pierre was telling her, where are you going to go? I don't see how that could be misconstrued as a threat. So the judge says, let me think about this. So here's the thing. What they're trying to say, if Dawn Richards, and by the way, chat, I know you guys are incredibly smart. I'm not trying to make y'all sound stupid. So if y'all hear me repeating or trying to give a colloquial explanation, like a layman's terms explanation that anybody can understand, and you're like, nigga, we already understand what we read, I apologize. There might
We call it C student. C student.
What
You know, we would
Westmoreland,
C students
one
through
of Diddy's
school.
lawyers is saying,
Maybe B
check this out.
minus. We would C students.
Yeah, if she want to testify that
It's okay.
she saw Diddy beat Cassie,
Look where we at now.
Cool. She's an eyewitness. Cool. But if she's testifying to threats
We're doing what we want.
that could be misconstrued as whatever between the groups or whatever, and this is like bullshit. So the judge is kind of realizing, all right, yeah, if they allow everybody to be like, oh yeah, we thought Diddy was talking in a harsh tone of voice, we were scared. Yeah, you're gonna paint the guy as a monster. Of course they're gonna want to send a nigga to jail, right? So the judge is gonna think about it. Then they're saying we have an application from the press that emails be put in the record. Okay, I'm directing you to put them together and put them in a docket by next Tuesday, and after that on a weekly basis. Okay. See, I told you, Inner City Press, which is this person, they put in a application to the court, and that application clearly is admitted. They That's what I'm telling you. This is why he's the only person really tweeting the case. There are people in there I've now found out, like if for Fox News, they're in court and they're communicating. I don't know how they are, but they're communicating to their reporter who's like speaking about it, but they're not tweeting it. Okay. All right. Here's the filing, and this is what Inner City Press did. This is cool. Oh, it was an email by email. So they emailed it to Honorable blah blah. This is a press application, a docket, and unseal government and defense communications to the chambers on evidential. Oh, okay. Dear Submarinian, Inner City Press has been covering the above covered like many others. Okay, perfect. Yo, got to say,
He's showing work, bro.
Inner City Press, everybody, including me, we owe you a debt of gratitude. You're doing the Lord's work. Without you, coverage of this case would be very difficult.
He's showing you how to get your document
from like Fox News.
He's showing you how to get your document.
Don't know how we could really show you our appreciation, but I do want to tell you you are very appreciated. And I know me, myself particularly, if there's a way we could try to show our appreciation, we absolutely will. All right? All good. 13 minutes ago, the jury is now entered, and AUSA Slavic says...
Get my other phone.
By the way, Don Richard is on the stand again. Says, when Mr. Combs told you that people could go missing, how'd you interpret that?
People could go missing.
Says that people could die. I couldn't believe that this could be the beginning of a journey for us. AUSA says, what do you mean? Like Diddy Dirty Money? She says, yes. So look like at the beginning of Diddy Dirty Money happening, things are going on, craziness, and Diddy's letting people know like, yo, y'all fuck around with me, niggas could go missing.
Hey.
And she's admitting she interpreted that to be people could die, right? AUSA Slavic then says, well, what did you observe? By the way, I feel like she already said this, but okay, cool. She's saying again. He would drag her, talking about Cassie, and kick her, punch her in the mouth. AUSA says, what would prompt these acts of violence? Combs says, Westmoreland, who's now more involved, says, objection. The judge says overrule. Don Richard says whenever she would speak up for herself, talking about Cassie again. Slavic says, who in security witnessed these things? Don Richard says D-Rock and Roger Bonds.
D-Rock.
AUSA says, where did Miss Ventura get hit? Don Richard says, her knees, her face, all over.
Knees.
The AUSA says, did there come a time you were in New York for a festival? Don Richard says, yes, in Central Park. The AUSA says, in the residence, what happened? Don Richard said, he punched Cassie. She came into the bathroom crying. Remember what I told you, chat? Some of these things she saw herself, some of these things she was around. And this is why the Combs team wanted to limit her testimony, because Cassie already said what supposedly happened to her. You don't need to keep saying the same thing 15 times, but with lesser and lesser possible credible witnesses, right? If you didn't see it, why are you still talking about it?
Right.
But the judge is still thinking about it, hasn't made a ruling on it. Said he punched Cassie. She came into the bathroom crying. You could see her upset. She was hurt. Another objection. Remember, this doesn't seem like she saw he punched Cassie. It seems like he saw her come into the bathroom and probably assumed, or maybe Cassie told her, I got punched. The judge sustains it for now, which means you guys know what that means, right? So overruled, which means answer. Sustained means move on. So what injuries did you observe? So remember, they can't testify to what Diddy did. That's what they're trying to carve out. Dawn, you ain't see Diddy punch her. And Diddy was really slick and shrewd in that type of way. No matter how, and I think the government's going to make a bigger point of this, no matter how Diddy, part of his defense is that I was, incapacitated. I was drunk. I was inebriated. He was always slick enough that he didn't do everything in front of everybody. That's the only reason why for 11 or how many years, people didn't know exactly what he was doing, right? So he would do it in another room. You might see her cry. You might hear her scream. But it's not like he was like, everybody watch me while I punch the shit out of her. He would say, yo, let's go in the room real quick. He go in the room real quick. He do whatever he do. She comes out crying. Or they hear a scream. Or they hear a scream. He comes down and say, oh, yeah, I got to go. You assume, like, oh, damn, he must be beating her ass. So his defense, knowing this, is saying, we're going to make sure people don't testify to none of that other shit. Cool. Here we go.
My bad.
So she says she observed a swollen eye. It appears she may have not observed the punch, but she's assuming it's a punch because she's seen a swollen eye. By the way, it would be crazy if Diddy was straight like closed fist punching Cassie. And again, chat, we're trying to be very neutral here, but we have some humanity, and also we're not going to assume Diddy's all the way guilty on everything. We're going to try to give him a fair shot. We're trying to do a court analysis with some real nigga lenses, right? If it is true that he's punching her closed fist in the eye, that is crazy. A grown-ass man punching a woman who's like 17 years younger than him in the face with a closed fist is crazy, okay? But again, we don't know if it was a punch. She's claiming it was a punch, but it was objected to. Okay, let's go. AUSA says, well, why did you remain with Ventura after the incident? Dawn Rashad says, I wanted her to feel supported. AUSA says, what is this? And I guess they show a picture or some type of exhibit. Dawn Rashad says, well, that's a Central Park event. They showed photos of Cassie in a sunglass, and there was Dawn Rashad too. So it was a picture of both of them, probably at the Central Park event. AUSA says, why did you wear them? Solidarity. So apparently Cassie gets punched in the eye. Her eye is swollen. She wears sunglasses at the event, but Dawn wears sunglasses too. The AUSA, the prosecutor, is saying, why'd you wear sunglasses? She's saying, I wanted to be in solidarity with Cassie. Interesting. We get some more tweets. The next assault. Who was there? Dawn says, D-Rock, Capricorn Clark, and Harv Pierre. Harv Pierre was a former president of Bad Boy Records. He's been sued in some of these civil suits, but it's the first time we've heard his name being brought up in the criminal case, okay? AUSA says, who was Mr. Pierre? At Bad Boy, he was answering the Combs. By the way, we could look it up, and just let's be factual here. Harv Pierre, I'll show you a picture of him. That's him. You may have seen him on Making in the Band. He was best known for working with Diddy Bad Boy Records, but he was, I believe, either the president or something of the sort. Give me a second. I'll get you his title, because I remember I used to see it on the screen all the time. Yeah, he was the president. If you looked at his LinkedIn, he was the president of Bad Boy Entertainment, okay? By the way, he also shares the fact that he has a Howard background with Diddy as well. Let's keep it going. Dawn says that Bad Boy was answering the Combs. AUSA says, did they do anything? Dawn said, none of us did anything. Okay? Now, it's an interesting, sequence of conversation or questions that they're going along with to ask Dawn about, because remember, this is a racketeering case. So what you want to show is complicitness, not people ignoring a situation or wanting to mind their business for their own jobs. You want to show people helping to cover up, helping to placate, helping to facilitate what Diddy was doing. So I'm watching this line of questioning. Again, it's one thing to say, yo, okay, say I have a bunch of employees. I punch a chick, right? When I punch her, my security, my assistants, my presidents, my chief of staffs, they all ignore it and act like they didn't see it. That's one thing. It's another thing if one of them run to the store to go get some Tylenol, one of them get some Band-Aid, one of them start sweet talking a chick like, come on, don't say nothing. We're going to bring it to the hospital. This is a story. Now it looks like everybody's working with what I did. And that seems like a racket. That seems like a criminal organization. As opposed to maybe everybody just want to mind their motherfucking business. Okay? Mind your motherfucking business just seems like, self-survival. Anyway. Y'all all good, by the way? Let me bring up the... King Academics chat. By the way, shout out to all my people on Rumble. And of course, all my people on Kick. I got Kick up on the screen too. Check Kick team email chat. What? Okay. Wait, did Kick team email me? You got an email. Yeah, I remember Blue's Clues. You got mail. Actually, that's AOL shit.
Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah. Thank you. And by the way, shout out to and thank you to the Kick. Shout out to the Kick chat. All right, they just gave me. They told me some really important shit. Here we go. There we go. Here we go. Wait, how did I do this? Oh.
So he's live. Not just
Give me 1 second.
react to his live, which he's normally live for like 8 hours, 7 hours. This is like an hour and a half of it. But I will have to stop. Come back. Probably a notice, probably won't. Okay. Like to be honest with y'all. What's going on
I'm trying
behind
to
the
edit the
scenes?
stream info.
I might do another page behind the scenes with
I'm
D.
clicking on the wrong fucking thing, bro.
As you see,
I'm clicking on the
a little
wrong
bit more of
fucking
my
thing.
life.
All right. Thank you to Kick.
If you want to, let me know in the
Thank you.
comments.
By the way, I want to say, yo, chat.
If you
You
wanna
guys
see
are
that.
so amazing. We do stream on multiple platforms at times. We might do a little Kick exclusive at the end. Maybe a little bit of gambling and like just some, riffing and
Matter
shit
of
like
fact,
that.
we're gonna do it now.
But I will
Alright.
say this to y'all.
We back.
Kick hit us up and they say, yo, your audience is amazing. We love how you guys been running it up on here. And I want to say for everybody
talking
who
right
is
now.
a chat nigga, I know you may have different viewing preference. I know some of y'all love watching on Rumble, love watching on YouTube. Shit, people even watch on Meta. And I know a bunch are starting to watch on Kick. I love you guys because, I'm telling you, the platform is very happy with us based on how you guys turn up support. Appreciate you guys so much for that, right? Okay, good. And by the way, I'm always honest with y'all, like, especially after the whole Twitch shit happened, we can't just be on one platform. We gotta be everywhere. You get what I'm saying? When you one place, they got you by the balls. When you everywhere, it's a little harder. All right, cool. So it looks like they're trying to figure out what the hell Dawn and them did. And it's clear that after the next assault, we don't know if it was a punch or something, but they're saying that D-Rock, who I think this is a security guy or some type of guy like that. Harv Pierre is the president. Who's Capricorn Clark? We should look that up. But they're saying that everybody didn't intervene when Diddy assaulted Cassie the next time. They're saying, so Dawn Rashad says, when we drove back to LA, he slapped Cassie in the mouth, told her to shut the fuck up. AUSA then says, how did the passengers respond? So it looked like they were in the car. Dawn Rashad said, we stayed silent the rest of the ride. Damn. Okay. Dawn Rashad said, I asked myself, if he did that to someone he supposedly loved, what would he do to an employee? So I'd approach Mr. Combs with softness. AUSA says, did you try to intervene in the relationship? Dawn said, no, for my own safety. So look like that's going to be the whole, I think this is the premise of Dawn Rashad's testimony. It's to let people know, right? The reason why we ain't jump in, we was scared of this nigga too. We saw him beat her ass. We ain't want to get our ass beaten, okay? By the way, whoever this is, they said the first RICO in history where the members of the criminal enterprise were doing their day jobs and minding their business, right? Like they're minding their motherfucking business. Where's the criminal organization? Now, here's the thing. I think Mia or someone else is going to have to impugn Christina Karam. Like, all the personal assistants are flipping on Diddy. They're all acting like, oh, we weren't a part of this. We were doing our jobs. We just didn't intervene. Or if we did do something, it's because Diddy forced us and we didn't think we were part of a criminal organization. Okay? But that is a point. They said this is the first RICO in history where the members were just doing their day jobs and minding their business. Because I'm telling you, this line of questioning, I don't know why the AUSA is doing it. Because all you're proving is that the artist and his other employees just didn't do nothing. They just kind of looked the other way.
Turn the cheek.
But it's not like they were helping Diddy do what he did. It's not like they're like, yo, Diddy, let me hold her hands while you slap the fuck out of her. They're not doing that.
No,
they would just see the shit and be like, that don't mean they're part of this criminal organization. That mean they want to get a paycheck. They're minding their motherfucking business. Well, I keep telling you, mind your motherfucking business. All right, here we go. Cool. All right. So she said she minded her business for her own safety. AUSA says, well, did you see Mr. Combs using drugs? She says, yes, weed, ketamine, Molly, cocaine. AUSA says, opiates? She says, that I never saw. So I guess opiates are like perks and stuff like that, right? Perks. What else is an opiate? Type of... What other drugs are opiates? Oh, codeine. I thought perks was opiates. I don't know. Okay. Heroin. Oxycontin. Obviously, somebody would be doing fentanyl by themselves, right? Okay. Wait, let me just Google it. Is Percocet a opiate? Yeah, Percocet is. So Percocet, Vicodin, and Oxycontin, they are. Okay, cool. We're getting it here. Okay, so they seen Diddy do weed, ketamine, Molly, and cocaine, no opiates. Said that never saw. By the way, this is also important. You got to realize, obviously Diddy's lawyers are going to paint Dawn Rashad as having this angle of probably wanting to see Diddy go to jail and setting him up, right? When she admits to certain things that can help Diddy, that also helps her credibility. Like, hey, did you see him do opiates? They're trying to put also this idea that Diddy did opiates. When she says, nah, I never seen that. That gives a little bit more believability to what she's saying. Like, okay, she's not just gonna say yes to everything to sink this guy.
Right.
She's really telling her true recounting of the situation. AUSA says, who brought the drugs in? She said, one stop. What does that mean? He had it all.
That's their name.
Plan B and birth control.
Damn.
I was wondering where the Plan Bs and birth control was at. Can't have a freak off if you nothing in these women. How the hell they ain't getting pregnant? There's no kids, no abortion. Okay, we now know the Plan B was in cahoots with this fucking freak off. Andrew, thank you for the file. Reading the second. So basically, Dawn Rashad is saying they had a one-stop shop. Maybe it was, you heard that sometimes Christina Carrano or somebody would have a fanny pack and supposedly had party drugs, they had condoms, they had all these type of things, but I guess it would have Plan Bs and birth controls as well. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. We got all
shop.
in one.
Holy.
Stop shop. Bring your
AUSA
own.
says, did you ever see Mr. Combs with guns? Dawn Rashad says,
one
yes,
stop.
handguns on his lower back.
Everything.
AUSA says, who
big dog.
who asked had, who else? I think that's what I mean. Who else had guns? Dawn Rashad says, security, D-Rock and Bonds. AUSA says, what did you do after Bad Boy? Dawn Rashad said, sing whenever I got momentum. I'd get a FaceTime from him. So apparently after she left Bad Boy, whenever she was like still working on her career, whenever she got a little bit of buzz, Diddy would call her. AUSA says, how would you speak to him? Very soft. I'd always call him bro. AUSA says, why did you not disclose the abuse you had seen? She says, I was told not to by Mr. Combs and Harv Pierre. Now, that's important because now she's making Harv Pierre seem like a co-conspirator. He's complicit. That he was, again, a part of the cover-up, which becomes a part of the crime. In this particular case, becomes a part of the crime, right? So remember, this is a RICO case. AUSA says, when did you speak out? She says in 2024. Okay.
2024.
You know, we not
I'm
only
gonna turn this other light on.
read the tweets, we also kind of like cross-reference a little bit. Dawn Rashad, did she ever,
Well, I thought this wasn't
did
even
Roger
bright.
Bonds
Hold
speak
on.
about her? Because Roger Bonds has been speaking about a lot of people. Okay. Here we go. We're trying to find his testimony is always pretty good. Here we go.
Yeah, it's a little better.
And so I've given a lot of thought, and I'm gonna let you out your contract too.
Drop your contract too.
As far as for you, Dawn, I still want to make music with you.
Still
I
want to make music
want you to be
with you,
signed to the
baby.
label. And you know, if I decide to put that together, Danity Kane, then you know you'll be the only member that'll still be there.
Okay, so at a point, we had Diddy who dropped everybody but Dawn. Okay. We're going to get to Aubrey O'Day. We're going to get to Aubrey O'Day at a point.
Talented.
I'll put this on the side. But Danity Kane had Aubrey O'Day and Dawn Richard and a few other people. By the way, one of the women of Danity Kane, I think this woman, what's her name again? Y'all are going to remind me. She's sticking up for Diddy a lot. Like, she was sticking up for Diddy. But then people felt like her lawyer was being paid for by Diddy. Because Diddy had called her several times before, and this is Harv Pierre, several, I think it was 100 times. Over 100 times before she had put out whatever she had put out. Okay, cool. Now, what the government just did with the testimony is accuse this guy right here, Harv Pierre, of being They've accused Harv Pierre of being what do you call it again? A co-conspirator.
Yep.
What the natural thought is, will he take the stand? Will he flip against Diddy? But if this is what the government is trying to elicit, if he's not charged, why isn't he? Right? Because they're trying to say he's part of this criminal organization. If he's not charged, most likely he will be testifying against Diddy. But it's very low that he's not mentioned at all. I'm still trying to see him. Like, if we're thinking about this criminal organization that they keep mentioning, we have Harv Pierre, who's now mentioned today, and Christina Karam, who's mentioned a bunch of times, even in the indictment. If none of them testify against Diddy, we're thinking they're going to be co-conspirators, but they're not charged. So we're going to see what happens with them, if anything at all, right? All right, let's see. Dawn then says, I saw Ms. Ventura take the stand and tell the truth. Westmoreland says, objection, which is a really good objection. You got to object there. The reason why is you shouldn't be testifying about another person's testimony. So when she says, I seen Ms. Ventura take the stand and tell the truth, Ms. Ventura's testimony is about what she believes. And also, when you say her tell the truth, did she tell the truth for the entire 3 days she was on the stand? Every single moment? So that was a great objection, and the judge sustained it, which means, you can't talk about her testimony. What the fuck? AUSA says, did you see Ms. Ventura file a civil lawsuit? And then did you file your own? She said yes. Which, yes, she did file her own lawsuit against Diddy. Has she done any interviews? Let's see if we can find out if Dawn has done any interviews. Dawn Richard interview Diddy. We've been waiting. She described.
What up, y'all? It's Caroline.
Without alerting Mr. Cohen on occasion.
So it dawned on me that we have 1 million streams already for this record.
I don't think she ever did an interview. Kalina is the one who's defending her. So Kalina is defending her, but Kalina's husband has some ties to Diddy.
Oh yeah.
So that's why they think Diddy still cool with the husband. They're making Kalina like defend.
Yeah.
They're making Kalina defend Diddy, but Aubrey O'Day and Dawn, they're not defending Diddy. Aubrey hasn't filed a lawsuit. Dawn has. Has Dawn never? Okay, here we go.
Hey everybody, this is Dawn Richard and you're listening to musicexclusives.com where you hear it first.
What's up, everyone? I'm Megan Williams from musicexclusives.com, and I'm here with the beautiful Dawn Richard. How are you?
I'm great. I'm feeling good. I'm in a good place right now.
Good. We're here at your listening party for Armor On, and I just want to say, we know you from being in groups like Danity Kane and Dirty Money. You've always been like the group girl. So why did you decide, okay, now I'm going to be solo?
Well, Puff decided he was done, so that was one reason. And it was just time. I mean, I've always been loyal, and I think I would have kept going with Dirty Money for however long it was. But when Puff decided he was done, that's all I need to know. Like I can't. You have to let your career keep going, and my choice wasn't to wait. My choice was to take advantage of my
chat. Again, we want to support victims here, of course. Is there any world that Dawn is tight that Diddy disbanded the group, gave up on them? She had to. It basically threw her in the deep end, said, "Sink or swim. You got to do this by yourself." By the way, oh shit, thank you. Oh damn, did somebody host us or something on Kick? We getting hella followers. I'm watching the kick feed. The kick feed looking crazy. Let me do a little filter over there, see what's going on. Type shit. Oh, they might have put us on the main page or something. I don't know. Oh, we got rated? Oh. Yeah, by the way, I love the Kick interface. It's like pretty easy to use. By the way, probably on the flight thing for the I gifted as well. All right. Good. All right.
my life and my career. So when he told
now, you know the problem is with this Diddy case, and I think the jurors are gonna have to weigh it out. There's no one that's testifying against Diddy, or no one who has this bad opinion of him that is doing really successful or doesn't have some incentive to either get back or incentive because their career might not have gone the way they wanted to. And you have to take that into perspective, because if all the people that got something bad to say about me, they felt I left them in the dust, and I could pull up interviews where they're like, man, I wish Ack never left me in the dust. I wish Ack was still doing the shit that he used to be doing with me. So here's the thing. If Diddy was still working with Dawn Richard, would she be blowing the whistle, or is she blowing the whistle now that bank account dried up a little bit, opportunities never really materialized? Now she's like, all right, I'm going to blow the whistle. That's going to be very important to say, right?
Told me no more. I was like, okay, well, what's the next step? Because I got to know where to go after this, because I love this music thing.
So it was Puffy's decision to...
Well, no, it wasn't Puff. The Dirty Money? Right. Yeah, I think he was...
Now, the thing with her, too, is that, remember, they have Danity Kane, then Dirty Money. She kept her for Dirty Money, right? But she's from Danity Kane. Also, let me see. I'm going to play this quick interview real quick. Or not, I'm not playing the whole interview, but give me 1 second. It was... hold on. Dawn on buying her out of her contract. I'm trying to see if recently she's said anything. Oh, this was 9 years ago.
Guess it was on them.
9 years ago was... oh, yeah, she was in love with Diddy at that time. Let me hear what Cassie said.
On the back. You
won't commit. He won't.
I'm not sure.
She was in a movie with Terrence J.
Playing a head game on.
Friend, Diddy, whether he came to the set to make sure everything was copacetic with you. No, he actually...
That nigga probably showed up to the set to see if he got to kill that nigga Terrence J for kissing on his bitch.
For sure.
Y'all know Diddy wasn't playing that type of shit.
For sure.
They in the movie over here talking about they hot and heavy, kissing on her and shit like that. Nigga, fuck out of here. You can't kiss on my bitch. I only let escorts kiss on her and skeet on her, nigga. Fuck out of here, nigga. You 106 and Park reject ass nigga. Diddy probably came there like, yo, I'm about to fucking kill this nigga. One thing about Diddy, I don't say you got respect, but Diddy wasn't letting no nigga in the industry fuck his bitch. If you was an escort, you could fuck her all day. You could nut on her, pee on her, that's cool. But if you was Kid Cudi, nigga, I'm about to blow up your car. You this nigga right here, fuck no.
Turn the tape. Welcome to Good Day.
Take us. All right,
like me.
Every
yes. Hell no.
New York.
Thank you.
So I heard you kind of turn the tables on the guys in this movie. I like the whole premise of this.
Yes.
All right, let me hear what she said about Diddy.
Sure, everything was copacetic with you.
No, he actually really trusted the situation. Him and Terrence spoke beforehand because Terrence.
Wait.
Yeah, he talked to Terrence like, "Hey, yo, pussy nigga, you heard what happened to Kid Cudi's car? You don't want to know what'll happen to your crib.
You don't want to know.
Wait. You date P.Diddy?
Oh, wow.
I did not know this. Yeah. Hold the phone.
You know, I typically don't talk about my private life.
Well,
but
forgive me. They put it on the television.
They put it on the television.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't go, like, really, it's your
I'll
business.
let that one go.
So, all right.
But wait, she was telling the story that...
So Terrence was a bit nervous, and I told Puff about it, and he said, have him give me a call. So we FaceTimed, and they had their man talk, and he said, make it believable. You guys, this is, like, going to be a great movie for you, and he's proud of us at the end of the day. It's work.
The actor talked to Puff.
Yes.
So I didn't know you call him Puff.
Yeah, Puff, Sean.
Yeah?
I think everybody has
Pop.
their different names.
Well, he seems like a good guy. I met him once when he was selling Ciroc.
Yo, it's still surreal to me. And this is what I'm telling you. I think, and call me a simp if you want to, you get blinded by beauty a little bit. Like, Cassie's so beautiful. Like, it's crazy to think that she might have left this set to go do a fucking freak off.
Yep.
Where a motherfucking, like, 2 or 3 prostitutes was fucking the shit out of her while Diddy's jerking off in the corner and she's glistening with baby oil. It's crazy to think
she
like
did it too.
She held, and not
took
only
all
that,
of it. She
that
took
she
all
held
of
a
it.
secret.
You hear me?
Yo, these days women can't hold water, bro.
So okay.
Story time. Like, come on, how many times have you seen women constantly expose the intimate or intricate details of their either situation or relationship with a guy just for a TikTok like or to go on the Shade Room? Yo, Cassie really held this shit down for 10 years. She was doing interviews where people were like intrigued, and she never gave the slightest hint that, yo, I'm doing some freak off shit. Like, yo, I'm getting plowed by 15 random escorts.
Damn.
Shit, Diddy's a freak. Like, we ain't had none of that.
Vodka.
Yes.
He brought a big jug
He's
of
a
it.
big mogul. By the way, Cassie comes from our area, Connecticut.
Yes, I'm from
Do you still have family there?
I do, in New London, Connecticut.
Oh, that's
Yes.
nice. You getting
They
a
came
chance to see them?
This is Diddy 7 years ago.
Well, as long as we're asking, and your suit.
This is him or Wendy. You know Wendy gonna get it out.
Yes, Puffy.
By the way, you know what's interesting about this interview? Back in the day, Wendy got fired for calling Diddy gay. You ever heard that story? Some of y'all are young. One in the chat if you remember that because you're old enough. Diddy, Wendy fired gay. Wendy got fired back in the day because she called Diddy gay.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny how when men get older in hip hop, they're still, well respected, well versed, cool Herc. You know what I'm saying? And I am familiar with Kanye and ASAP.
From Brand New.
Hold on.
There were lots of homosexuals in hip hop back in the 80s too, that was. What's worse, hip hop wearing skirts or hip hop being closeted and having a plethora of kids to prove manhood that, and denial of something that you shouldn't have to deny, which is your sexuality. So I hear what Jamar is saying, but we come from a very home career, and it's all coming full circle now. So
I want the Diddy part.
I don't know, because I still see Frank Ocean as being one amongst many, but one, and that's good. But and then there was the notion of this radio DJ in New York who is in denial. So that just goes to show you how far the homosexual movement within hip-hop and sports still needs to go. It is politically correct to be accepting, but behind closed doors, people are still hating. And Jason, the basketball player, is one, but it will be a long time, I think, before another actively playing in the locker room ball player comes out. And it's unfortunate, but that's where I am, on it. Frank Ocean, good for him. And Jason, good for him.
Show's really bad.
The steak. Mar is saying, but we come from.
Anyway, she got fired. Let's hear the story.
Did you get fired for making fun of Puffy?
Yeah, by Hot 97. I had to fight a lawsuit. You know what it all came down to? It
came down to gay rappers. That's what it was.
Gay rappers and exposing. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Wendy. And she was on the radio talking all this way back in the days. I've been telling you things for years, but you don't want to hear. So, all right, fine. And I don't understand parents who unleash their kids. Oh, it's just a deeply moving story to me because I know all of the story. She knows.
It's kind of interesting seeing Wendy in the state now because, like, everything Wendy told us about everybody else is fucking true.
Yeah, it is. It's coming out.
There are people like Wendy Williams. I didn't know that did that show.
You represent a lot.
It is stunning how many figures think at the time.
Yeah, chat, I'm gonna get back to the tweets in a short second. Let me see if I can find. Where's the? There's probably a timestamp. Where's the timestamp?
And the Met Gala.
Yo, Diddy look like Yo, look at Diddy's face. The whole time he got his face on like, yo, don't expose me right here. I'm slapping the shit out of you too. This is him talking about him and Cassie.
Yeah, I wish you would.
Look.
Yo, Diddy looks so nervous. Look at his face.
Look.
That's that nervous laugh. Nervous laugh, chat. Nervous laugh.
You know?
No, but I want to tell you the story about that. I met all of them in the same year, so I've known all of them the same amount of time. But we were friends. No. Listen. Whoa, why did I do that?
Did you meet all in the same
No, I was just trying to say it wasn't like I just was running around, through my career and just, every couple of years just being with a new person. Like these are people that...
Now, it's interesting. I'm going to tell you why this conversation is interesting. Back in the day, I think I could probably even find a clip. Wendy Williams, Hot 97, Diddy gay. If I can find the clip, I'll find the clip. Okay, this is her talking about Diddy. Listen.
Dutton from Rock is 50 years old. All you can hear is Whitney screaming at the top of her lungs at Bobby to get off the stage. Get off, like ridiculous.
She also says some stuff about Bobby Brown, too.
Whole thing happened back, of course, in December. Leaving his wife.
I thought it was an Unc-Pay.
Well, eventually, Jennifer and Wolf made their way to the SUV without Puffy.
Right.
They ran 11 lights to elude the cops. Supposedly it was Puffy, although people are saying they saw a female hand tossing a gun out the window. And then when the cops stopped them, they found a second gun, of course, in the car.
Right.
All four of the occupants, the driver, the bodyguard, Puffy and Jennifer, were handcuffed. In her early 30s, he's a paralegal at a corporate who works with autistic children. She's also been in...
No, where the fuck is it? Damn.
See, this is how he jumped to like side missions.
For it.
He jumped to side missions.
Artists could be so hot they could get people fired.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Wait, Wendy dated Biggie? Wendy before the surgery when she dated Biggie? What the fuck? What surgery Wendy got?
What you mean?
We burned at the stake for talking about such. And now it's all come full circle. There were lots of homosexuals in hip hop back in the 80s too.
Her and report back. Let's take a look at this throwback clip of the Wendy Williams show.
Oh, man.
Cassie's in South Africa filming Honey 3. And she allegedly...
Remember, that's when Cassie was in South Africa. She testified to this. She's in South Africa filming Honey 3. She realizes Diddy's fucking with the Gina girl. He told her he stopped fucking with the Gina girl. She find out that he's still fucking with her, and she blocks Diddy. She blocks Diddy.
Allegedly has been avoiding Puffy.
Oh, so Wendy knew. Yo, Wendy was the truth. Let me tell you this, man. Wendy been the go to all this shit.
Yeah, she was
Without
the goat,
Wendy,
bro.
you don't get Charlamagne, you don't get me, I don't think you get none of this shit. Because she is what TMZ is for hip hop. Yep. And I know some people love to act like, whether, like, if you're on a podcast, you're gossiping, gang. I don't give a fuck who you are. If you're Joe Budden, you're gossiping. You're gossip. I don't care if you think you're just reviewing music. We're all gossiping, and we all come from this woman right here. I'm sorry. She's the godmother of all this shit. I got to be honest. Now, some people like to gossip in a gangster way, but I don't care if you Gillian Wallow, you gossiping. If you me, you gossiping. If you Drink Champs, you gossiping. If you sitting here and talking about stories that other niggas have other than just straight music, you're gossiping. And she's the queen gossiper, and without her, none of this would exist. That's a fact.
And, my thing about when you date a mogul is that it's really difficult to avoid them because if you use your head, you never know when they're going to pop up on the scene. Like he's mogul, like he can hire a plane right now, zoom it to South Africa, land on the roof.
Which is so scary to think that, like, when you are dating someone that rich,
that's cool.
Again, she's kind of a her on the air in 28. The host and actor, she said to see this true to that.
All right. So we're getting to realize a lot of things that Wendy said low key kind of came through type shit.
Never shied away from addressing celebrities.
We were from any.
Yo, they scrubbed the audio.
He could do this. He could.
On the way she moves.
Yeah, Cassie have gone this far. Like the distance. What is it about her?
I mean, it's just like when
it's a freak offs gang.
What is it about her?
The way she moves.
Yeah.
Like when I look at her, the way she smiles. The way I see her look at me sometimes when I wake up and she's already awake.
Other men.
She didn't go to sleep. She's off them drugs. All right, bet. Let's get back to some tweets real quick, chat.
Damn.
Again, if you're watching, we're gonna from time to time kind of jump into like some background videos and stuff to give us more context. But we're waiting for tweets. So okay, we're caught up a little bit. 17 minutes ago, the judge is saying cross. So pretty much, the direct is done with her after they establish and look like all the direct, which is the AUSAs, the prosecutors, all they established was that Dawn witnessed Cassie being abused, witnessed Diddy be violent. She was in fear, and that allowed her, or not allowed her, that prevented her from doing anything, right? Okay, so now we're on the cross. Cross is, Westmoreland's now stepping up. She says, you are aware there's a motion to dismiss your lawsuit, right? Which is her civil lawsuit. Dawn says, I have civil lawyers. So she doesn't answer the question, but she just says she has civil lawyers. Westmoreland says, you sat with a prosecutor and your allegations have changed.
Oh.
She says, I've been consistent. Now, that's very important, chat. What we can now tell that Diddy's lawyers has done. Diddy's lawyers are doing 3 different things. And by the way, these money grab attempts by these attorneys, or let's say even potential victims. Diddy's lawyers is looking through your civil suit. They look through Cassie's civil suit. Remember, they called Cassie up on the same lie. Or not lie, but inconsistency. Let's just call it that. Cassie said, Diddy raped me at this time in her civil suit. When she talked to the government and through their conversation that then became discovery, she said another date.
Oh, okay.
One date is here in your civil suit. One here is here with you talking with the government who got to do a criminal trial. Inconsistent. Okay? Right. They pointed out that with Cassie to say, how, you want us to believe he raped you, but you don't even know when he raped you. You gave 2 different dates. And they're saying the same thing about Dawn Richards. So everybody who filed a civil suit, they're cross-referencing dates and details with their government interview, right? Cool. So it says, so she says, I've been consistent. Westmoreland says, well, you testified he attempted to hit her about the eggs and that she dropped down to the fetal position, right? Dawn says, yes. Well, Westmoreland says, did you ever say you heard a pan hit the wall and you didn't see it? I don't recall. So that's clearly either in her interview with the government or civil suit. Now Westmoreland is pretty much reminding her. Would you agree with me it's been hard for you to keep your story straight with respect to the egg incident? She says, I told it as close as I could. Westmoreland says, the day after, you said Mr. Combs said people go missing. She says, yes. Westmoreland says, let's go to your interview. And by the way, these are pre-trial interviews that the government had with their witnesses. And because they announced the witness list, they have to turn over those corresponding conversations that they had with those people in interviews that they did to get a story on the record, supposedly. Not really on the record because it wasn't on the record then. And they're combing through those and going and cross-referencing it with their civil case. So it's on March 18th, you didn't say anything about Mr. Combs told you people go missing. Richard said, or Rashad says, I don't remember that. Westmoreland says, no worries, it's okay. I'm going to show you a document, only for the parties though. Let's go to page 5. So chat, once again, it appears that Diddy's team is doing a good job of basically showing that these people's memory is fuzzy, hazy, and kind of like thrown into the pot that they might be saying anything now to either further a narrative or trying to please the government because they either hate Sean or otherwise, okay? Cool. So we're kind of caught up a little bit. Yo, Chad, does coffee like, you motherfucking, yeah, I drank like 1.5 cups of coffee. My stomach is starting to turn. What the fuck?
Well, what it do to you?
Somebody told me, though, like, yo, coffee makes you, like, want to go to the bathroom. I'm like, nah. Because I've been drinking coffee, like, for like the last 2 weeks, right? This morning, I'm like, oh, wait, hold on now. All right, bet. So we're waiting for some more tweets. We're going to see. While we do that, let me pull up some donations. Thank you guys for the ones who have donated, all the people who have become members, or anyone who has either subscribed or gifted a membership or subscription via Kick, Rumble, or otherwise.
We ain't on no Kick, man.
All right, here we go. Oh, coffee?
No, once I get some
diarrhea?
more people,
Hell nah, gang.
once I get some more people,
hell no,
watching videos and stuff like that.
All right, we're gonna have to make it through. I'm gonna drink some water.
Select some people.
Water in a second.
To be mods and all that. We'll get there one day.
Okay.
And we'll get there. You gotta believe in me more. But thank y'all who have subscribed so far. Hit that like button.
We are waiting for some new tweets. Again, I think if you guys are watching, you guys should understand the strategy that Diddy's team is going with. For Don Rashad, clearly the aim was to say, we all witnessed that Diddy was doing some abusive shit. But if you ask us why we ain't join it, or not join in, but we ain't prevent it, we were scared of him too. So they're kind of showing that Diddy is a fearful person, okay? Diddy's lawyers just came back around to say, would you admit that you really don't remember everything accurately? And they're kind of getting at the fact that her story is inconsistent. And then they're probably going to try to highlight the fact that not only is it inconsistent, you have a reason to lie on Diddy, right? Your reason is a lawsuit, right? Not only that, let's talk about your finances. They did that to Cassie too. Let's talk about your finances. Not only you have reasons to lie on him, your money's low, right? So it's in your best interest to say whatever story that made this guy look crazy, but you weren't saying the story consistently, nor did you say it at the time, right? So the government was trying to knock out the first point of, well, why you didn't say it at the time? Oh, well, we were scared. Well, why you didn't say it since? I was still scared. Okay, well, when you did finally say it, how come your story has changed in a year? And that's kind of their strategy, okay?
Yeah.
Will that work for the jury? I think it'll work on an individual basis. I don't know if it'll work overall, especially with the amount of witnesses they're trying to bring. You know, people usually be like, listen, everybody ain't lying. You know what I mean? Even if they don't believe one person all the way, they'll be like, man, everybody ain't lying. This is why Diddy's team is trying to say, could we limit some of these people from testifying? Because
too many.
We could point out holes in all their testimony, but we're not trying to get railroaded by just the amount of people they claim they have to testify, right? Because people might be like, oh, yeah, she don't remember everything, or maybe she lied about A, B, and C.
Right.
But there's 20 other people who testified to the same thing. So, everybody can't be lying type shit, right? All right. We are waiting for some additional tweets. By the way, Buzzer Beater Clips, thank you for the 5. He says, when serial killers get comfortable, they start making mistakes and leaving trails. Diddy had a whole freak off with him when he was the Joker. What are you trying to say? Are you trying to say he did a freak offs after the Joker? He dressed up as a Joker for Halloween one year.
Oh.
Okay, thank you for the 4 months membership.
I see
Say your
what
shout
you're
out to the chat. The party was lit. Oh, you came through? Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you so much. Love you for that. Bradley Dormis, thank you for the 14 Canadian. Says, late but happy birthday, Act. Your streams got me through tough times when I was doing Uber Eats. Salute to you, my brother. Salute to you. He said nothing better than a motherfucking chat. Is that a St. Lucian flag and a Haitian flag? I think I know my Caribbean flags. Okay. Tanya Vicente, thank you for the 5 Canadians. She says, saw the best lawyer breakdown of court last week. The charges and what exactly it means. Nate, the lawyer, he did a what happened in court this week. All right, I trust Tanya. Tanya's usually on point. Let's see. Nate, the lawyer, what happened in court this week. We're not going to read or go through everything. Okay.
All right, I'm Nate, the lawyer.
All right, bet. Before we do that, let's just get up to date with the last tweet. And by the way, I still have more donations to read in a second. Combs, Westmoreland, which is Combs' lawyer, says, isn't it true the first time you said this was a week ago? Isn't it true the first time you said this was a week ago? Would you like to show... would you like me to show you your previous interviews? Dawn says, I know what I said. Westmoreland says, you said Combs made a death threats, one that you didn't recall 7 times. So apparently she's now claiming that she never claimed before that Diddy said somebody could die and she took it as a death threat. Okay? This is interesting. Dawn is standing on her claim. She's like, I said what I said. Right. Now, again, she could say, well, I forgot that detail in the story, but she's not backing down that she heard or believed that Diddy made a threat. And the threat that she heard was niggas could go missing. What she took that to mean is that people could die. So that was a death threat, right?
Now, it's important to note, this was just week 1 of the trial. These were just the first couple of witnesses. So we have a lot more to go. And then we also have the defense putting up their witnesses to show that this didn't happen or...
Okay, so we kind of get like a understanding here. We're still on the way. We're still an hour from lunch, probably. So essentially, and yes, it looks like, yeah. So as I said, they rested with, hey, so despite the fact that Diddy threatened you, you still reached out to work with him and you weren't making money otherwise, but you basically reached out to the guy who you claim was threatening you, right? Yeah. Now there's redirect. So the prosecutor gets back up and says, hey, why did you file your civil lawsuit? And Dawn says, when I worked for Combs, I had no sleep. The conditions. Now, she didn't allege sexual assault, but she definitely alleged like work conditions were like, it was almost like to the aspect of damn near forced labor, but like I forgot the actual allegation she made, but it was about work conditions, right? Anyway, she's mentioned it here, and AUSA says, in every meeting with the government, did you say that Miss Combs beat Cassie? She says yes. It says, well, why then did you reach out to Mr. Combs? She says, well, one of the judge on Making a Band, Lorian Gibson, I wanted to reach out, and Westmoreland says objection. The judge says sustained. It says, how often did you hear from Mr. Combs after you left Diddy Dirty Money? Okay. So we're waiting on some updates. Now, I see somebody say, why did the defense object? I would imagine they objected because in her answering it, she's bringing up Lorian Gibson, who's someone who is not a witness for the government or something like that. The judge still sustained it, so it doesn't matter. But it looks like they didn't want them to be like, oh, Lorian Gibson reached out to me on behalf of Puff. Lorian Gibson, if you don't know who that is, Lorian Gibson. She was like a known, she's like a known dancer. That's where I know her from. Hold on. But apparently she also claimed assault as well. Here we go. Ooh. Oh, here we go. Did she ever say anything about it? I think we see. Oh, okay, here we go.
I must confess, Lorianne and I became friends when I was doing my radio show.
Of course.
Good. All right, so Lorianne, everybody, is an accomplished choreographer, and she's worked with some of the biggies, including Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
Oh, this the dancer?
Discouraged as well because everybody was like, Lorianne, I want you to make Beyonce. I want you to make the same thing that's already out.
Now, what are you teaching, Nikki?
Okay. She had worked with Diddy for a while, too.
Yeah, I remember her.
All good. Huh. Dawn Richards says sporadic. So how often would you hear from Diddy? She says sporadic. So why did you reach out then? She said to help Kalina Harper. AUSA says no further questions. That's a good place for them to end, right? Because Kalina Harper she actually was taken up for Diddy, and I guess maybe her group mate thought something was wrong. Look, this is Dirty Money's Kalina on how Diddy treated her.
Well, Diddy's my superhero. Diddy is my He-Man. And so as a little girl, I would always look at Puff and be like, yo, he's like the coolest brown-skinned guy ever. And, you know, you hear people like, yeah, dancing in the videos, blah, blah. But I was like, yo, you need that energy as an artist. You need somebody to have your back and be getting it. And if we took ourselves as serious, we'd probably be out of here because he believed in the movement, you know? And anyhow, I was freshly signed to EMI, and Big John did the deal, actually. He was the president of EMI at the time. Beat on some K. Diddy shit. And he don't got... And they're playing his record. Boom, 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 boom. That shit beating. So I walked in the room like, what the fuck is this? Oh my God, right? Because I'm captured in the music, like not tripping about Puff being in the other room. All of a sudden he comes in and he just hear me like, oh my fucking God, going crazy to the beat on some K. Diddy shit. And he don't got his pants on. He's in his drawers and socks and he's putting pants on. He's like, fuck with this beat.
What? Allegations, chat. This is the year ago she did this interview. Before the arrest and before anything.
What year is this?
Oh, man.
It's 1 year ago?
Not beating the allegations at all, huh?
She said he ain't have no pants
I'm captured in the music, like not tripping about Puff being in the other room. All of a sudden he comes in and
this is a flashback, so it was recorded before any trouble started.
Hear me like, oh my fucking God, going crazy to the beat on some K. Diddy shit. And he don't got his pants on. He's in his drawers and socks and he's putting pants on. He's like, fuck with this beat. Like that's how we met. Like it was just like
Boy, it was fresh out of a freak off, man.
Yeah, in the other room.
Like just like magnetically connected to what this music was doing, and we just started vibing from there. But that's how Strobe Lights with Lil Wayne came out of it, and you know that was the first record I wrote for Last Train to Paris. So yeah, and then we took off from there. When it was time for me to leave, writing on Puff's album, I was like, yo, who are you using for this fucking album? Like, who's gonna be on this album with you? Because this shit is so crazy. I was just so in love with the idea, the concept. It was just out of here from being a girl that was at home praying to God that I would get the opportunity. Like, oh my God, I've been on tour for like 4 years. $10,000 shoes, the furs. Isn't her dream? And we all.
Did Tania do another?
I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get!
I always remember this clip. This clip is like it just accentuates maybe a thought that Diddy had throughout his whole life. He says, whatever I want, I have to fucking get. And I mean, again, I'm not saying these allegations are true, but I do think that generally, I think Diddy was living life like that. Like, you know, if I want this, I'm getting this. If I want to see this, it's going to happen. And
that's how you gotta
he
be,
was
man.
pretty much bulldozing everything in this way. Was he doing it in a legal way? I mean, it's going to be up to some jurors, right?
Sean Diddy Combs was arrested tonight in New York City. Sources say federal agents with Homeland Security investigations took him into custody. The charges are unclear at this time.
Two of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs' homes.
Let me see. Are we at lunch yet for...
That's crazy, man.
For this case, all right.
You wouldn't even think that. You wouldn't even think this was real. Somebody told you.
AUSA says, would others call you for him? Says yes. Christina Karam, which by the way, or KK. So that's the same person. Chat. We're gonna keep watching out for this name. If she's not an indicted co-conspirator, she's somehow non-indicted. Will she testify? How did she avoid testifying? Because these people who are
everybody keep
party
bringing it up.
to all of the stuff or witnesses or victims are claiming she's a co-conspirator.
Yep, they keep bringing it up.
AUSA says, did you witness any assault? She says, yes, first in the Hollywood Hills. Ruben, one of his security guards, was there. AUSA says, what did Mr. Combs do to Cassie? Kerry Morgan says he kicked her. Okay? AUSA says, what did she do? Morgan says nothing. I told Ruben to do something. He indicated he wouldn't. AUSA says, then what? We left the house. Cassie and I were hiding by someone's front steps.
Oh, man.
So once again,
hiding.
You know, and this is why I think the prosecutor, if they're going to win this week, right? Again, I'm scoring in my own way. If they're going to win this week, though, they have to somehow prove. They got to somehow.
Good so far. Good so far.
Beyond just the violence, where this becomes. Man, I
don't think my mic was on. I was saying we almost
sex
done.
trafficking, because they keep telling us the same thing. Diddy beat her.
Good so far.
Do y'all believe Diddy beat her? I think everybody in the world believed Diddy beat her. That's not the point, right? Now, I know they're trying to prove these little subtle nuances, like, well, we got to mention the beatings, but the beatings were the overlying factor of the fear and her trying to get away, i.e. hiding. Maybe that's what it is. I'm just looking for a little bit stronger evidence, I guess, right? We'll see.
We'll see.
AUSA says, and the next time, Kerry Morgan says, in Jamaica, I saw him drag her by the hair. I ran to get my purse and phone so we could leave. AUSA says, what do you see next? Kerry says, I thought she was knocked out. Then she got up and ran into a wooded area. Wow. So we're hearing about just more violence.
Yeah.
More violence. Diddy to Cassie. A lot more violence. Okay, so what happened next? It says there's 2 golf carts in the driveway. I got in one, Sean got in the other one. We went in different directions looking for Cassie. Did you find her? Yes. Then we hid in a ditch. Huh.
Hid in a ditch.
Jamaica, she saw her drag her by the hair. She ran back to get her purse and phone so she could leave. So what'd you see next? Thought she was knocked out. Then she got up and ran into a wooded area. Then what happened next? There's 2 golf carts in the driveway. I got in one, Sean got the other one. We went different directions to look at Cassie or look for her. I found her. We hid in the ditch.
Whispering. You're right. She said,
what about the incident at Comstock, an apartment? So Cassie came back with a hoodie covering her face. Then Sean came and tried to get in, hitting the door with a hammer. I called D-Rock. He said, did he get in? No. Then the police came. Wow.
And the police came. Okay. What they said to the police? What the hell is that?
We still need like a D-Rock interview, huh? Looks like he's witnessed a lot.
Yeah, looks like he witnessed a lot. D-Rock, but is he in security?
Diddy, a year ago, he pulled up with D-Rock. So it looked like Diddy's still cool with D-Rock, right?
Okay, Diddy.
I think this is Christina Karama.
He in the zone. Hey.
Which one's D-Rock? Is it him?
Hey, hold up. Hey, Diddy is in the zone right now, man. Look at him. Hey, check this out. I want you to pay attention to his body language, how he's talking, how he moves. He loose. He feeling himself right now. He probably on the pink cocaine. Allegedly. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
Look. Oh, my sucker. He made that nigga hook sucker. Then he thought it was in his mouth. Hold up. Y'all didn't even peep that. Y'all didn't peep that. He thought the sucker was still in his mouth. Pause.
Which one's D-Rock? Is it him or him?
Yeah. Diddy, what's up, baby?
Thought he had it. Wow. And he stumbled.
Yo, Diddy is such a fraud, though.
Yep.
Yo, anytime you see a nigga get too positive, they're doing some real fucked up shit in the background. I ain't gonna lie to you. As soon as Diddy started saying he was brother love, I was like, all right, man, this nigga doing some real devil shit.
What is he doing
Any
now?
nigga who act like they too positive,
Yep. You gotta look out for them niggas.
I knew
Always
something was
positive and happy.
Hey, yo, what's up, y'all? I have some very serious news.
This is probably after a fucking freak off.
I've been praying on this, and I decided, I know it was risky because I knew it could come off as corny to some people. Like, yo, I decided to change my name again. I'm just not who I am before. I'm something different. So my new name is Love, a.k.a. Brother Love. I will not be answering to Puffy, Diddy, Puff Daddy, or any of my other monikers, but Love or Brother Love, okay? It's my birthday. I feel good. God is the greatest. I give all glory, and I thank my mama and daddy. Mwah!
Okay. All right. By the way, Hoodbox TV, thank you for the 10. I'm going to go to the Academy page in a second to read donations. He says, why are the sex workers being charged with federal crimes for selling sex across state lines? Diddy can't buy something that's not for sale. So number one, all these sex workers, I would imagine, have done a proffer, which would probably, in exchange for their testimony, they're not going to get prosecuted, right? Not necessarily immunity, but it just means the government is not going to go after them for that. Also, here's the thing. The government is really going after Diddy in a racketeering sense. Part of racketeering is that the person has to understand or has some type of implicit knowledge that they're a part of this scheme, this finesse. For example, and I know you're talking about the sex worker, but just to explain it in a racketeering sense is that if you hire maids and their job is just to clean shit up, and then you fucking kill somebody and they happen to clean up some of the stuff or some of the whatever that was left from you killing people, they weren't knowledgeable of the murder. They weren't involved in the murder. They weren't complicit in the murder. They were just doing their jobs. So I think that's how the government is going to take on looking at these sex workers, right? Where, yes, prostitution is illegal. These were escorts who I think in the favorable way or how the government, again, some part of the law, the law is supposed to be pretty much black and white, but there are gray areas.
Yep.
They're going to look at it like these people were almost told and also scared of Diddy himself because none of them explicitly were selling sex services.
Right.
The one that was brought up on the stand, he was a dancer. Diddy then engaged him to say, I want you to fuck her. And they said they seen devilish looks in his eyes. They seen Diddy do A, B's, and C, and D. They were scared. So that's why I think we haven't seen charges for the sex workers. But you have to remember, Diddy is a target here, not them. So a lot of them probably have given their cooperation, or if they had videos, exchanged their videos to the government for lack of prosecution, if that makes sense. Entertainment Zone, thank you for the 5, says, she said every single time her ass know what she was doing.
Most
you talking about
definitely.
Cassie?
Most definitely. We know that.
Thank you, brother. He says, can you do a producer tag for me? Well, hopefully me saying your name just now was a producer tag. He said, love your work. Appreciate you. It said, pull up Diddy on the Graham Norton show. What happened there? Diddy Graham Norton show. Let's see, both. The love shit is like, you go Brother Love, I usually start looking at you at that point. Anybody whose soapbox is too much, Big U, rather than just being a former gangster, says he's here to stop the bullshit and be the liaison. Like, he's like, I'm the community leader. Now he's doing more crime and killing people, right? Really?
Because you're launching the album here.
Yes.
Now, are you
Last Train to Paris is the name of the album.
And are you going to have a big launch party?
Of course. Why, of course?
Of course, because in New York you had a big launch party.
We have a party for everything.
You do, don't you? You love a party.
Yes, we have a party for Tuesday.
But the
we have a
launch
party
party
for Friday.
I'm getting it. The launch party in New York, didn't the fire brigade have to come? And not in a good way. Like, wasn't it an actual fire?
No, I mean, they usually come. It's part of the festivities.
Yeah, but didn't somebody catch on fire?
Oh, at the last party.
Yes.
Yeah.
How did you forget something like that?
He has a lot of parties. We've established that.
A lot of things happen at these parties. But, in the bathtub, in the bathroom at the party, in the bathtub, in the jacuzzi with the strippers, one of the strippers' hair got caught on fire. Because of the candles.
When the strippers.
Thank God she was in a jacuzzi.
Safety first.
The baby oil.
You know it's gone wrong. Can anyone
Baby
smell
oil
a stripper burning?
Baby oil is flammable. If you didn't know, baby oil is flammable.
You have a butler. Isn't that, don't you have a butler?
Yeah.
Yeah. Trust me, not many people do.
No, but I had got it from watching, like, movies about London. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I heard that y'all have butlers over here, so I said I need to get one.
And now, because Britain isn't that hot.
All right, man. Let's read up these last couple of tweets before they're gonna break for lunch. We're not going anywhere. It says, what happened? So this is after they said they hid in the
Part
bushes.
2 is after lunch.
No. This is actually the Comstock apartment. Kerry says that Cassie came back, hoodie covering up her face. Sean came in, tried to get in, hitting the door with a hammer. They called D-Rock. Said, did he get in? They said, no, the police came. So what happened? Cassie wouldn't show them her ID and nothing happened. They left a card. And AUSA says, read this message. Do you see the attachment? Morgan says, yes, it's a photo of the card the detective left. So it looked like Cassie must have kept the card eventually. Or maybe Kerry kept the card and they turned that card over to the cops. Oh, wow. Okay.
You heard it that long?
They should be shortly going on break, so just a heads up. Yeah, they're going to be shortly going on break. It appears that these witnesses are going to go by quick.
French
No
Montana
one should
right there.
take another day unless it's Jane Doe.
French Montana. It's almost over.
Okay, we're trying to look for updates. Give me 1 second, son. Okay, yeah, we're still kind of waiting. Yeah, this week is starting out a little bit interesting because it was so explosive last week that it's interesting that they're only still talking about Cassie. They're not talking about this other mystery woman, right? They're not talking about, and I'm wondering if Gina Hewitt is going to be a part of it. I know some people had thought that Daphne Joy. Daphne Joy. Now, I don't know if she's going to be a part of this whole proceeding. Has she posted anything? Yeah, she ain't posted before the trial. Yeah, we don't know who she is. Has Gina posted? She has me blocked. But Jane Doe hasn't showed up. Obviously, people are going to be in court. Said, talks new film, loves a loser. Okay.
Boy, oh boy, Ellen, I love
Cars
doesn't app that you can
Can't wait.
QR code on screen and you.
No, it'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, you know, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel. You know.
And then it will carry on there.
Yeah. Then no, I mean the after party.
No, I know about them.
And years later, Combs said he wanted to attend one of Ellen's parties.
You know I have to arrive fashionably late.
All right. Not too late, though.
Not too late?
Not too late, please.
What time would you like me there?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But not too late. Because, you know, once you get there, the party really starts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you. I promise you I'm not going to let you down on this big one.
All right,
For
good.
real.
Good.
Your shoes, your feet are going to have blisters. You're going to be dancing so hard.
I can't wait.
Now, the two seem to kind of dance around the apparently open secret that Combs' parties were beyond wild, with reports of drugs and multiple participants and more. And as the allegations against Combs have mounted, many have called his interviews with Ellen now creepy.
So no money on you?
I mean, it's just a little bit of money on me.
Oh, you do have money on you. Lord have mercy. Where are you going after this? It's all 20s. Where are you going after this? What are you doing?
You know what we doing, what we plan to do, girl.
But I have to be clear about something. There is a difference between a wild party and something that is criminal. Okay? There's a difference between having a great time and something that's an illegal freak-off. And having said that, remember when I told you about those freak-offs, right? Cassandra Ventura, as well as prosecutors, said in legal filings that people forced to participate would often have to get IV drips to recover from exhaustion and prolonged drug use. Well, in 2016, Combs appeared on stage with blue gauze around his arm and explained that he was just getting an IV drip backstage. He'd apparently arrived at the studio with it.
They said that I would have to stay. I said, no, I have to go. I said I could pull that out myself. So I walk in, and I'm talking to Ellen. I have the IV, and then the blood is going down. I start to panic. I go into the bathroom, and I pulled it out myself, and I just made it here, and I love you.
I love you, too.
So, of course, the natural question is, what was going on right before this taping? And to be very, very clear about something, Ellen DeGeneres has not been accused of anything. She is not listed in any one of the government's filings. The only reason we are talking about this now is because we are going back and looking at these old interviews, looking at these old comments, looking at these old interactions to see if potentially they could play a role in his criminal case. So with that in mind, let's move forward. Well, to talk more about this, to talk more about Ellen DeGeneres'
in September and some of his parties, you know,
wild after party that's filled with music and it goes.
Interesting. All right, we should have an update, and I think they should be breaking for lunch now. So let's see. AUSA says, "Did Mr. Combs ever assault you?" She says, "Yes. He hit me with a wood coat hanger and choked me." AUSA says, "Where did the hanger hit you?" She says, "Behind the ear." AUSA says, "What did he express concern about?" She says, "Who Cassie was cheating on him with." See, someone asked the question, is this also DV to a lover, you Diddy supporters, or this is clearly a pattern? Yeah, I think Diddy was clearly a violent individual. Was he a sex trafficker? Again, I think violence is a part of that. Too difficult to really say at this point, if you ask me. By the way, thank you guys for all the donations. Play Legendary says, play Charlotte's interview with Cassie about the leak. Oh. Cassie Charlemagne.
This is what I like about him. He'll look stuff up. He don't mind. Some people won't.
Where is it? Where's Cassie's interview with Charlemagne? Cassie interview with Charlemagne.
So that's gonna be on part 2.